Hi, romance readers. I am Liz Donatelli. Welcome to a special episode of Reader Seeks Romance, the #1 romance novel talk show on YouTube. In support of the premiere launch of HEA Reader Event in Indianapolis this November 2023, I am chatting with attending romance authors CHARITY FERRELL, ALEATHA ROMIG, and Emily Silver. We will discuss their work, and the group will play Two Truths and One Lie. Enjoy, and be sure to like and subscribe. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance Authors.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Emily, you are the founder of HEA Reader Event that launches this fall in Indianapolis. How is it different from other events that connect romance authors and readers?
We think it's different. My co-host Tina Snyder and I, we have gone to about 6 or 7 signings together, and we've kind of taken little bits and pieces of everything that we like and dislike about them and decided to throw one big shebang in Indianapolis where people come to us for once instead of us traveling to them. So we decided to host our own event this fall.
It's interesting you said that you've attended lots of events and there are things that you don't particularly care for and things that you do like. So which things do you not care for in a typical event that you're changing in HEA Reader Event?
I think one of the biggest things that we're changing is, depending on what ticket level you get, you don't always get like swag bag kind of things. We're making it so everyone gets a swag bag. And I know it seems like a small thing, but as someone who loves going to signings and getting swag, I'm a swag fiend. So I want to make sure every reader who comes gets a swag bag and can take stuff home from all of the authors, whether it's a little bookmark or a koozie. We want everyone to have something from the event.
What were some of the things that you liked about events that you decided to include in HEA?
So I think our favorite thing is the cocktail hour the night before. I mean, you can never go wrong drinking and hanging with your favorite authors. So we're definitely doing that. Tickets are for sale on Eventbrite, and the cocktail hour is on Friday night, November 3rd. And it's $15. You get 2 free drink tickets. And that's from 7 to 9. So you don't have to worry about rushing. You can come in the afternoon. You don't have to rush in to get there. The signing is Saturday. So for $50, it's the VIP hour. So you get an upgraded swag bag, and that's from 11 to 5. And then general admission is $35, and you get just a regular tote bag. You still get swag. And that's from noon to 5.
Awesome.
And that's on Saturday the 4th.
What are you looking forward to most at HEA Reader Event?
This will be my first sighting. So I haven't attended any other sightings before. So I figured that I would start with one that was close.
Yes, if you're going to do something for the first time, it's good to have to be in a familiar surrounding where you know you're close to safety if you need to run at any moment. How many romance authors who are attending are from Indiana, Indianapolis, and how many are coming in from other cities?
I think there's maybe a dozen or so from Indianapolis. We have about 55 authors, I believe. And I think maybe less than a dozen are from Indianapolis and the surrounding area.
Okay, very cool. ALEATHA, now you're no stranger to romance author reader events.
I'm not. I've been all over the world.
You have. I believe that I've attended some. I know that you've been to some that I've been to because I knew of you prior to this interview. What are you most excited about?
It's in my backyard. I mean, it's wonderful. It's not officially my backyard, but it's close and we can drive. I love when we can drive because we can bring a larger amount of books. And, you know, if they sell, they sell. If they don't, you bring them home. It's not a big deal. It's not like you're having to ship them across the country. So I'm just thrilled that it's so close, and I'm excited for people to come to Indianapolis.
Are you hoping, Emily, that you can establish Indianapolis as the romance reader capital of at least the Midwest? Like,
how about the romance reader crossroads?
Yes, I like it.
Romance reader. Okay. Sounds good to me.
Indianapolis is known as the crossroads of America.
Yes. I like it. Charity, you are a USA Today and Wall Street Journal bestselling author who writes about, quote, broken people finding love while adding a dash of humor and heartbreak. And your bio states that angst is your happy place. So what types of angsty situations do you frequently write about in your romance novels?
I think mine have a lot of push and pull. They're very like back and forth. Just when you think they're going to get their HEA, then I like throw something in that makes it a little bit more difficult for them to get it. So I don't write very much like insta love. There's always a lot of push and pull between the characters before they get their HEA.
Is it a lot of mental anguish and angst that's putting those obstacles in the way of the romance journey? Is it physical stuff? Is it external factors? Do you do more of the mental game than, people trying to tear them apart?
I think it's more internal between them. I mean, it kind of differs. I have about 20 books out, so they've all kind of had, issues. Each one has had different issues, but I think a lot of it is more internal. A lot of my small town romances, people say that they cry. So a lot of times it's, them dealing with internal, demons or issues that they've had if they've known them before, and different stuff like that. So it's just a lot of push and pull.
When a reader says that your novel made them cry, do you feel author goal achieved? Or are you like, oh, I didn't want them to fall apart? Like,
oh, I like it. I do. Like, yes. Thank you.
Is there a particularly favorite angsty couple or angsty situation that you've written that you'd like to share now?
I normally write small town romance, but this year I've gone into mafia, but my last small town was a girl's boyfriend or fiance dies, and then she ends up falling in love with his best friend. So I guess I like putting my characters in more complicated, forbidden, like they probably shouldn't be falling in love, but they end up falling in love.
ALEATHA, you are a New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and USA Today bestselling author, quote, of all things romance, contemporary, dark and dangerous, thrillers, and super steamy. What appeals to you about writing romance journeys in which the protagonists risk both their hearts and their lives?
Oh, well, Charity was just talking about her mafia, and I love mafia. So I like the external problems for my couples. So, I mean, they stay together through thick and thin, even if at first they didn't come together either willingly or wanting to, they work together to make it through whatever obstacles come their way. So I like having that element of danger, having that element of surprise, twists and turns, things you're not expecting. I really grew up reading thrillers, so I like the thriller aspect of a romance.
Do you observe a particular ratio of sex to suspense where it's like, okay, well, they've been on the run for about 2 chapters. I've got to throw in a caress, an intimate caress, so they have to have sex. Like, is there a balanced ratio that you try to observe so that way there is a good deal of sex and suspense that satisfies readers who want both so strongly?
I would say I try, but I don't have a formula. I hate formulas. I know I met some authors when I first started who worked for different publishers who literally, like, by this page they had to have done this, and by this page they had to do this. And I do not like that at all. I want all of my stories to be different. So each one, it just depends on the couple. It depends on the situation. I mean, some of them, there's more, some there's less sex, but it just depends on what's happening.
I'm a fan of forced proximity.
Me too.
I feel that romantic suspense, while I don't read it as much as I would like to, I love that whole world. It's just me and you against the world in this like little insular bubble, which I feel is conducive to loving feelings, even though some people say, oh, if you're running for your life or you're in danger, who has time to think of sex? Now, when people say that to you, Aletha, what is your response?
I'm like, everybody thinks of sex, don't they? So I mean, that's good. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're in a hotel room or if you're hiding in an abandoned house, if it's just the two of you and you're in a safe spot, that you want to show one another how you feel.
That was a good answer. I like that. Emily, you write, quote, strong heroines and the swoony men who fall for them. As an avid traveler who has visited all 7 continents and sailed around the globe, where did you find the strongest heroines and most swoony men in real life?
I would probably have to say when I went to Europe, I just love the people there. They're fun and outgoing and really just take charge about everything. And it's quite the fun place to visit.
Is there a specific country or city where you're like, oh, there's some super swoony things going on with these guys here?
I mean, you can never go wrong in London. So,
okay. I was hoping that you would say something in the UK, because although I have not visited, I am convinced, based on an old episode of Oprah Winfrey that I watched many years ago as a youth, I'm convinced that Scottish men are probably among the hottest.
Oh, I was just in Scotland in September, and there are very good looking men there as well.
Okay. Now, Aletha, you were shaking your head. Do you have experiences with Scottish men?
Well, not personally. And I actually don't write them, but I love them. I mean, I absolutely love them. My husband and I have been to Scotland 3 times. We celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary over there on a 2-week tour. So we love Scotland. Absolutely love it.
Oh, nice. Okay, I have to go. What kind of strength have you seen in women from other countries that you're like, you know what? I'm going to put more of that in the characters that I write. Does anything come to mind?
I don't necessarily know if it's anything like that I've seen personally, but just the people that I interact with, they all just have very outgoing personalities and take charge. And traveling, you meet a lot of really interesting, fun people. And I don't know if it's because you're traveling and like they want to like impress you, but I feel like a lot of people are just like really big go-getters. Yeah. And especially when you're traveling, you meet a lot of fellow travelers, and they're always just like, I've been traveling the world for 6 months. This is what I'm doing. And I just think that's pretty badass. And I would love to be able to do it myself.
You are all prolific romance writers. When you meet readers who haven't yet read your work and they ask, because I've been the one to ask this and I've heard other people ask, so which book or which series should I read first? What do you say?
I guess I would first ask, what do you like to read? Because I write a combination of different genres. I mean, they're all romance, but I write contemporary, more of my sweeter, I call them my lighter ones. I do have a series of erotic novellas, and then I have more of my romantic suspense. So I guess I would ask first, what was your interest? So what is your interest?
Oh, okay. We'll role play here. Okay. Let's see. Romantic suspense.
Romantic suspense. Okay. Well, I would probably start you out with my newest series that was recently completed. That way you can binge the whole thing. It's called the Sin series, and it is set in Wisconsin, Chicago, around those different areas, because I'm from the Midwest, and we have a reclusive billionaire and a virgin heroine. And even though that sounds like something everybody else writes, I promise my story is different. And you should and forced proximity and age gap. Jump in.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. And I've brought a friend along with me who's interested in your lighter works.
Okay.
Was wondering what you would suggest.
Well, if we're at HEA, I'm going to suggest my most recent release that came out in July, and my newest one, because they're set in Indiana, in a fictitious town. And it's a small town Indiana story. And both of them are standalones. It's just that the one that came out last year is The Sisters, small town, secret baby, second chance. Basically, that they were college sweethearts, and he doesn't know that she was pregnant. And so when he goes back to the small town, he finds out he has a daughter who's 5.
Okay. And which did you mention the title of that one?
Quintessentially the One. And the new one that's coming out in July, I'm writing it right now. It's her brother's story. So it's Grumpy Sunshine, small town.
Wow. Now you mentioned Secret Baby, a trope that I have not read, and I feel like it's divisive in the community because there are a lot of people who, when you say Secret Baby, they're like, oh, I can't stand Secret Baby. Then there are people that say, oh my God, I've gone through a whole Secret Baby phase of reading. And now I feel like I would rather read your Secret Baby. Now that we've connected, I feel like I want to start with your Secret Baby situation. So Emily and Charity, do you read Secret Baby? What are your thoughts on the Secret Baby trope?
I read everything, so it would not bother me in the slightest.
Okay. So Charity, where do you fall with Secret Baby?
I read it and I write it. I have one Secret Baby romance.
Okay. What is the title of your Secret Baby? I might have to read both of your Secret Babies.
Just One Night. It's a widower who lost his wife, and he has a one-night stand with a woman he used to work with, and she gets pregnant. I didn't realize there was so much Secret Baby love and hate until recently. And I was like, dang, a lot of people don't like Secret Baby. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, very vocal about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's different twists on that trope, but whatever version the people I've spoken to have read, they're like, oh, no, I can't buy into it. I'm curious to delve into the Secret Baby situation. So Charity, if a new reader came to you and said, hey, Charity, what should I read? You've written quite a few books. Where should I start on my journey? What title or titles would you recommend?
I ask them if they have a favorite trope. Like if they have a favorite trope, what they like to read. I do have some darker stuff, and then I do have small town stuff. So I always ask them what they like to read and then what their favorite trope is, because Secret Babies. I don't want to recommend a Secret Baby and somebody be a Secret Baby hater.
Okay, let's say enemies to lovers.
Enemies to lovers, I would say Shaken or Only Rivals. Those are my probably most popular enemies to lovers. Well, also, hold on, I'm going to throw another one in there. The Just Neighbors might be, forgot about that one, might be another really popular one.
How much hate is on the enemy end of things?
They normally despise each other and always have some type of past where one made the other, some type of way. I think that's when I say that angst is my happy place, because that's what I like to do. Like I like them to, hit back at each other and really like bump heads before they decide, okay, we love each other now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like to put them through a lot of stuff before I give them their HEA.
Emily, where would you direct new readers who are looking to dive into your catalog?
So where I typically send people is, most of mine is lighthearted contemporary romance. So I tend to send them to Roughing the Kicker, which is my sports series set in Denver. Sports romance, I feel there was a lot at one point, and then I wasn't seeing as much. Is it just that I'm not looking in the right place, or have people kind of stepped back a little bit, largely from writing sports romance? Because I feel like at one point it was every sport was out there at the, all at once. I tend to see more hockey romance than football romance. But that also could be because I'm very much in my male reading phase, and there's a lot of really good hockey romances out there. So I tend to keep an eye out for those. I still think it's as popular as ever. I think there's a few football series coming out later this year from other authors. Don't ask me to name them. I think I just know that.
Okay.
But I love sports romance, and I'm always keeping an eye out for it.
I was just telling somebody I need to learn about hockey because I don't know anything about it, but it's huge.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A lot of people are writing it.
It's my only sports. I have one sports book, and it's hockey.
Interesting.
My dad plays hockey, and all of his hockey friends were like, oh, we can tell Emily how to play hockey so she can write a hockey romance. And I was like, like I have a base level knowledge of hockey that will hopefully get me through, but they were all like, nope, we have to read the book. And I was like, I don't know about that.
Is there a sport that hasn't yet been written about in romance that you would like to see written about? Tobogganing? Is that like, I'm trying to think, what's the one, the luge, where you're both like on top of each other, like shooting?
I feel like it'd make for a really good romance though.
I think so too, because you have to be laying on someone's crotch, right?
Ooh la la.
I honestly could not tell you. I am a more recent romance reader. I started in 2019 after reading way too much World War II fiction, and it was so depressing. I think one of the first ones that I do remember reading was Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Nice. Yeah.
And I love that one, and that kind of set me on my romance reading path, if you will.
Nice. And were you writing? I'm assuming that you've been writing a while. Like you've always been a writer.
I've been writing since 2020, so I'm a more recent writer.
But prior to that, had you been writing like historical fiction? Because you mentioned reading his. Oh, okay. Really?
I went to school to be a history teacher.
Okay.
So I love history, so I loved reading it. But then you can only read so many stories about the Holocaust without just feeling sad all the time.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I switched to royal romance.
Interesting.
Red, White, and Royal Blue,
Right.
Royal Rogue from Jessica Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Those were some of my first ones because I love England and I love royals.
Charity, do you recall the first romance novel that you ever read?
I would say I read romance, but it was more like Nicholas Sparks, kind of that. And I think I found more like new adult and kind of the romance,
Okay.
kind of where we're at right now in like 2012, 2011.
Okay. Were you into the Twilight series by any chance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I read
anyone
all of
else into
those.
Twilight? Yeah.
I read the first three and never read the fourth one.
Really?
It was my senior year of college, and it was right when I was going back to start student teaching. And that took up all my time.
Okay. Well, I mean, it went to Crazy Town, USA anyway in the last book.
Did.
So I don't think you're missing too much. ALEATHA, do you remember the first romance novel you ever read?
Maybe Twilight, because I really wasn't a romance reader at all. I really like thrillers. I love, oh goodness, of course, I'm going to draw a blank. The Firm, all those. A Time to Kill.
Grisham? John Grisham?
Grisham, yeah, John Grisham. I really liked him. I would read him all the time. And I love like Gone with the Wind, but that's not really by definition a romance. So I would say Twilight, but it was because of my daughter. I'm old, and my daughter liked vampires, so we went to the first movie. And back then there was still the bookstores in the mall, and we left the movie and we went directly to the bookstore and bought the entire series. And she would read them and I would read them, and it was kind of a bonding moment. But yeah, we really enjoyed Twilight. My first dark romance, I can tell you that one for sure, was C.J. Roberts' Covered in the Dark. And so that came out about the same time as my first book, Consequences, which is also darker. But they're very different. But we kind of kept getting compared. So it was fun when we met each other and were able to talk about our different stuff. But yeah, so I would say, I mean, I read the gamut of them now, but I also still read my thrillers.
Nice.
Let's see, Two Truths and a Lie.
Mm-hmm.
I've met the Backstreet Boys. I've owned my own business, and I've been to the Super Bowl.
Ooh, that's a good one. Now, when you say the Backstreet Boys, you mean all of them?
All of them.
Getting to the Super Bowl to me is more rare than probably meeting the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, but it was in
Well,
Indianapolis.
we had one in Indy.
Yeah, we did have one in Indy.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess although wait, maybe it's that she owned her own business.
I think it's that she owned her own business. Unless
do
you
too.
consider being an author owning your own business.
I realize in hindsight that could be confusing, but not my author business.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna still go with the Backstreet Boys. I'm hoping that's not the lie, because I want to hear that story. Charity, which one do you think is the lie?
I'm going to do own business.
Business. And Aletha, you said business?
I'm going to say business.
And I say Backstreet Boys. Which is the lie?
I have never been to the Super Bowl.
Oh, we stuck up for you too.
I was going to say that, and then you guys.
I'm so glad you guys said that because I didn't even think about it being in Indianapolis.
So you've never been to the Super Bowl. So you've met the Backstreet Boys.
I have. My oldest friend and I, this past summer, we had pit tickets to see the Backstreet Boys. We had bought these tickets before COVID, and we finally got to go last summer. And I got a meet and greet email, and I was like, we have to do it. Like, we've waited this long. Let's just do it and spend the money. And it was all of 10 seconds, and they all said hi to us, and we took a picture together, and best 10 seconds of my life. I love the Backstreet.
Really? And who was your favorite, or who is your favorite Backstreet Boy?
Brian. I've loved him since 7th grade.
Did you get to express that?
He said he liked my t-shirt that I was wearing. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And then we were moved down the line.
What kind of t-shirt was it? Did it have his face on it? Is that why?
It just had all their names listed out, and that was it. Like, I think it's an easy go-to like conversation starter with like crazy older women who have loved them since junior high.
Well, they're older too. So it's not like it's, creepy or anything, Would you write a celebrity romance?
I would like to. I have ideas for it.
Yeah, I like a good celebrity romance, especially something like that where you had a crush and then you got to meet them. I've always fantasized about New Kids on the Block. Yeah, that's my generation's New Kids on the Block. Well, that was a good start to 2 truths and 1 lie. Aletha, if you could go next, hit us with your truths and lies.
I have been to the Arctic Circle. I was a cheerleader in high school, and I have married my high school sweetheart.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Not a cheerleader.
I was going to say the cheerleader thing too. What do you think, Charity?
I think the cheerleader.
So we
all I think I follow you, and I think I know you're married. You've been married to your husband for a long time.
Yes,
I'm pretty
37
sure
years.
because I follow you. Yeah. So I'm going to say cheerleader.
Okay. I'm going to say cheerleader too. What is it?
It's cheerleader. I wasn't a cheerleader.
So
I have been to the Arctic Circle. And then within 2 weeks from being in the Arctic Circle, we went to Hawaii, and we went in a submarine and went 100 feet below sea level, which those are 2 things that like both times they told us only like 1% of the population do.
Wow.
So that was kind of cool.
Really? Oh my God. You didn't get freaked out at all being in a submarine?
No, it was really neat. It was a tour submarine. It was pretty cool. Yeah. The Arctic Circle was really neat, but it was cold. But I have a series called Into the Light and Away from the Dark, and it's set in northern Alaska. And so this was research. We got to go up like the Truckers Highway, and it was pretty cool. It was very cold. It was pretty cool too.
Okay, Charity. So it's your turn to give us 2 truths and a lie. Let's see if we could figure it out.
So I have 2 middle names.
Mm-hmm.
I only have to write 1 draft of each book that I write. I never go back and rewrite. And I'm going to steal off Emily and say I've been to the Super Bowl.
Ah, that's an interesting move, because we would all be like, oh, then it's the Super Bowl. That's the lie, because you just added that in at the last minute. Or is it the truth? And you're just playing it off like, I don't know. Aletha, what do you think?
What do you mean you don't go back and rewrite? Do you just write straight, or do you like read as you write and make changes?
I just write straight.
Okay, I'm going to say that's not true.
I'm going to go with the 2 middle names.
The 2 middle names, that's so possible. And then you threw in the Super Bowl at the end. But it did sound like you were maybe like, when you said the 2 middle names, you didn't say it with a lot of confidence. Like, I have 2, you were just like, I have 2 middle names. So, I'm going to go with the 2 middle names too. I think the way you delivered it sounded a little bit like a lie. So what is the lie?
It's the 1 draft. Aletha was right.
I was going to be really
impressed.
So what are your 2 middle names?
It's Joe and Marlene.
Okay.
So my mom's middle name's Joe. My grandma's name is Marlene. And I guess they wanted to just have everyone's name in my name. So I
Nice.
have technically 4 names.
Okay. And you've been to the Super Bowl.
I did. I went when it was here in
That's
Indy.
really cool.
Ah, that's awesome. What kind of seats did you get? I mean, were they pretty decent seats?
I mean, they were decent, but honestly, you miss all the commercials. And those are normally
Oh.
my favorite part. So it's really not, I don't know. You kind of don't get the same experience, I guess, as you do at home, because you don't like get to see all the commercials that everybody is talking about later. But
Yeah.
it's nice to say like I was able to
Yeah.
go.
That's
You
still
saw
cool.
Tom Brady lose, which is like even better, in my opinion.
Ooh.
Huh?
You got to see Tom Brady lose.
Well, and you got to see Madonna at the halftime show.
It was Madonna.
I
Yeah.
thought it was
So it was
Oh.
fun because it was 2 East Coast teams. So it was the Patriots and then it was the, New York.
Mhm.
And so they're very loud
Yeah.
and just like, and so they were like fighting with each other and like throwing stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, these people are intense. So it was interesting.
That is fun.
I mean, it's nice that they brought it here in Indy and we were able to go.
That's super cool. Thank you, Charity, Aletha, and Emily for joining me here on Reader Seeks Romance. I look forward to meeting all of you in person this November at HEA Reader Event.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.